All right, so in this video, we are going to go over the objection from the customer that the car is not worth it. They're looking at the value of the car, the cost of the repair, and they're adding up and going, it's just not worth putting that much money into this car. And so we want to deal with that objection. We want to help in the conversation and say, 99% of the time, it is smarter financially to fix your existing car than it is to buy a new one. Now remember, most of us buy for emotional reasons, and our finances are very emotional. They're something we keep very close. And so if we can touch on that subject and show them how it's a better decision to maintain this car than to buy a new one, you're going to help trigger into that emotion a little bit. No matter what you're doing, you do want the customer to make the end decision. Do not push them or force them into this, but at least give them the options of what does it look like maintaining your car versus buying a new one. And we want to do that by showing the cost breakdown over the next 3 years of, again, owning the existing car versus buying a new one. So before we get into this, when the customer gives you that objection of the car is not worth it, I want to lead in with the very easy question of, Mrs. Smith, do you like your car? Do you still enjoy the car that you have now? And hopefully you're going to get a yes or no out of that. If the answer is a yes, then let's lead straight into this. Let's explain to them why it makes better financial decision to maintain it. If they say no, we just want to throw one more little piece in there to see if we can get them interested in having this conversation. And it simply is saying, oh, okay, never mind then. I was going to get into showing you how it makes more financial sense to repair this car than it does buying a new one. But if you really just want a new car, go get one. That's awesome, right? Encourage them. If that is the choice they want to make, go do that. And what we're trying to do here is we've kind of said, well, it makes more financial sense. We're getting into, again, that emotional territory of our money that we're hopefully going to get them to go, wait a minute, no, go ahead. Show me anyway so I can make a smart decision. So then hopefully we get them listening to that conversation. So in the documentation, I'm going to give you a template that you can use to explain to your customers the value of fixing this car versus buying a new one, and does it make sense for you. Now, obviously, you're going to be honest about this. If you look at that car, and yes, your repair rate and bill rate now is $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. If that still doesn't bring that car up to stuff, if that car is just a piece of junk, I don't want you selling them something that isn't worth it. So know in your head, if you say, okay, we've got a $4,000 or $5,000 repair bill, looking at the car, it's going to last that 3 more years. It's going to be reliable. I do not see any issues coming up, the best that you can predict, then move ahead in this technique. So in that template, you will have the current car cost breakdown. So use that as your template. And so what you're going to do is you're going to list what is the current repair bill, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And is that the repair bill with all the maintenance that you're suggesting doing, whatever that is. Get that number put in there. Then we want to estimate the next 2 years after, what is the car going to need? It's going to need some oil changes, some tire rotations, right? What does that look like? And you can say, you know what, really that looks maybe about $2,000 over the course of 2 extra years, $1,000 a year of extra maintenance. Then factor in the depreciation. It's a bit of an older car. It depreciates. It's not a new car, so it's not as fast. So maybe the depreciation on average is worth about $1,000 over the 3 years, maybe $1,500. Car payment would be 0 if they don't have a car payment and no down payment. They're not buying a new car, right? So you add all that up, and your total is going to be somewhere $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, whatever that looks like. You want to take that total and break it down by the 3 years and then by 12 months in each year to come up with what is the monthly cost of owning this vehicle. Maybe it's $200, $300, $400 a month on average to maintain that vehicle and keep it for 3 years. Then you're going to move on to the next chart. In the next chart, you want to put, well, what is the cost of buying a new vehicle or like new vehicle? What are the payments going on? You can easily look at this by finding a comparable vehicle to what they have. But if it's, you know, new or 1 or 2 years old, right? If they're buying something newer, you want it new. So then you're going to take down the same lines that we had in the last one and fill those in. Current repair bill. Well, if they buy a new vehicle, there's no current repair bill, so that's $0. Estimated repairs and maintenance over the next 3 years. Well, the car's not as old. It's not going to need quite as much stuff, so it's probably going to be a little bit less. You could mark it down as $500 a year as opposed to $1,000. Estimate what that's worth. Now you're going to want to put in depreciation. Again, you can see yourself the price difference between cars that are 1 or 2 years old versus the same model that's 5, 7 years old, and figure out what's the price difference between there, what's the depreciation. We want to add that to our total. Then we have the car payment amount, which depending on what kind of car it is, right? It could be $300, $400, $500, $700 a month for the car payment. Add that up, times it by 12 months, times 3 years to get the total of the car payment over 3 years. And then if they have to make a down payment, what is that down payment worth? Add all of that up. You could have a total of $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, right? Take that total now, divide it by the 3 years, divide it by the 12 months per year, and now you're going to get a cost of $400, $500, $700, $800 a month to own that new vehicle. And so by having both of these charts, both these sheets, and again, hopefully you've got these figured out before they come in, because you think this is going to be a good comparison, or you can just quickly do it out in front of them. But you're able to show it in front of them on paper. You've got 2 papers that compare the cost of owning a vehicle. If they were to repair and maintain their current vehicle, they're going to be saving $200, $300, $400, $500 a month versus going out and buying a new one of the same model or size. So hopefully what's going to happen is the customer is going to look at it and say, you know what, yeah, financially that makes a lot more sense. I'm happy with my car. I'd like to invest the money in it to keep it for 3 more years. So that's how you handle that objection. We will catch you on the next video.